All right, this is Math Course 1, Unit 1, Fractions Review and Mastery, Topic 5, Adding and Subtracting Fractions. Remember, take your student activity book out and follow along. Pause. When you see it going to another image, pause so you can complete your activity. LCM versus LCD. They are related, but not the same. For the sake of this slide, I'm probably going to say something twice. So LCM means least common multiple. LCD means least common denominator. LCM, least common multiple, the smallest number that is a multiple of all the numbers. The least common multiple of 4 and the number 6 is 12. 12 is a multiple of both 4 and 6. Now, LCD is the least common denominator. So again, we're speaking of denominators, so that means we're speaking of fractions, okay? So least common denominator, it is used specifically with fractions. It is the smallest denominator that all fractions can share, okay? So for example, 1/4 and 1/6. The denominators of 1/4 and 1/6 are 4 and 6. Those are the denominators in those fractions. So the least common denominator of 4 and 6 would be 12. All right, let's break this down a little bit more, okay? So they are related. Least common denominator, least common multiple. They are related, but they are not the same thing. So again, LCM stands for least common multiple. It is the smallest number that is a multiple of 2 or more whole numbers. For example, the LCM of 4 and 6 is 12 because 12 is the first number that both 4 and 6 can multiply into. Remember, the greatest common factor was on a whole different level. It was the greatest number. That was a factor of each. Now we're talking about least common multiples. So the first one we get to that both on the small scale that both numbers can multiply into at this point, right? So when we look at 4 and 6, 12 is the first number that both 4 and 6 can multiply into. So LCD stands for least common denominator. We use the least common denominator, the LCD, only with fractions. Again, denominator, least common denominator. The LCD is the smallest denominator that all the fractions can share. For example, the fraction 1/4 and 1/6 have denominators of 4 and 6, as we just stated. The least common multiple of 4 and 6 is 12. So the LCD is 12. So remember, LCM, least common multiple, is used with whole numbers, while LCD is used with fractions because it deals with the denominator. To find the LCD, we must find the least common multiples of the denominators. Pause this video if you need to dive deeper into this, or write it down so that you can try to untangle it in your mind if it's kind of mind-boggling or confusing. And don't forget, pause it so that you can do the activity below in your student workbook. Subtracting fractions with the same denominator. So now we're going to learn how to subtract fractions. Subtracting fractions means taking away part of a whole. So look at the example 3/5 minus 1/5. Step 1, make sure the denominators are the same. Both fractions have a denominator of 5. So we are ready to subtract. It's just that simple. So step 2, subtract the numerators. 3 minus 1 equals 2. and then keep the denominator the same. The denominator stays 5. So 3/5 minus 1/5 equals 2/5. So think about the picture, right? We started with 3 out of 5 parts. When we take away one part, we have 2 out of 5 parts left. So remember, when fractions have the same denominator, subtract the numerators and keep the denominator the same. And always remember, these images are created with ChatGPT, as you can see the stamp below. So sometimes the shaded parts of it or the amount of squares are inaccurate. So if you notice that is inaccurate, cross something out or shade something in. All right, let's keep going. Subtracting fractions. Take away one fraction from another. So how do we do it? Again, make sure the fractions have the same denominator. Subtract the numerators, which are the top numbers, and then keep the same denominator, which are the bottom numbers, and then simplify the answer if you can. Pause this video to continue to discuss it, and also pause it so that you can discuss your student activity and activity book. Subtracting fractions with different denominators. So we're going to look at how to subtract fractions with different denominators. Before we can subtract, the fractions must have the same denominator. So let's look at the example 3/4 minus 1/6. Step 1, find the least common denominator, the LCD. The denominators are 4 and 6. The smallest number they both divide into is 12. So the LCD is 12. How did we get that? Take a look at the images as I'm speaking so you can see that part. All right? So in step 2, change each fraction to an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 12. 3/4 equals 9/12. 1/6 equals 2/12. So step 3, subtract the numerators. 9 minus 2 equals 7. Keep the denominator 12. So 9/12 minus 2/12 equals 7/12. Step 4, check to see if the answer can be simplified. 7 and 12 have no common factors other than 1. So 7/12 is already in simplest form. Okay? So final answer is 3/4 minus 1/6 equals 7/12. So let's just do a brief reminder. When subtracting fractions with different denominators, first find the least common denominator, LCD. Change the fractions to equivalent fractions with the same denominator. Subtract the numerators, keep the denominator the same, and simplify if possible. Now, let's go break this down a little bit more. Pause to do the student activity and the student workbook. All right, so since this slide was already broken down on the prior slide, what we're going to do is pause this image and do it ourselves. We're going to read it ourselves just to give ourselves, just to put it in our memory, even to put it deeper in our memory and to understand it even better. Or your teacher or the person who's teaching you can explain it even further, because this is not something that you do by yourself. This is something that an adult or someone assists you with. All right, family and friends, pause the slide, discuss it, and then do the activity part in your workbook. Excellent job, creative learning adventurers. Stay curious. Keep growing. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. We will see you next time. Bye for now.